Tatiana Wollaston, the referee, has taken a cue, asked the players to get things underway, and it is Ronnie O'Sullivan who breaks off. No doubt hoping to click up 1, 2 or even 3 years on the way he played so far in this group this afternoon. So joining me in commentary, it's Dominic Dale. Lots to talk about, Dom. Of course, with this format, the good thing for Ronnie O'Sullivan fans is that he's still got time to recover.
Yes, good afternoon everybody. He certainly has got time to recover. But you'd have to think, bearing in mind he's lost both his initial matches by the score of 3-0, that he'll have to win his remaining 3 group matches because, of course, ordinarily 5th place you come back for another group, but not here in Group 7. It's your one and only opportunity to win a group and make it through to the final group, the winners group, which will begin on Thursday.
Yes, you're right. Basically, if O'Sullivan were to post a record of 3 wins, 3 defeats, he'd have a chance of making the playoffs. But I think to be absolutely sure, he has to win this one. His last match today against Martin Gould, and then a couple of matches tomorrow.
Yes, if Ronnie can win his 4 remaining matches, of course, we wouldn't have anything to worry about, I'm sure, but it's a big ask. Given the field that we have here, players such as Ding Junhui, Ali Carter, they're both in action on table 2. Karen Wilson, it's a stellar cast. Not to mention, of course, 4 times world champion John Higgins, of course, who's already played some excellent snooker today.
Just take it off. 19. 20. Ronnie, can you please just take it off? Just leave it on the table, thank you. 27.
Got the impression that O'Sullivan was having logo problems there.
Ronnie will be aware that going into the pack from the black won't be particularly beneficial. I'm sure Ronnie will prefer to go into from the blue. I'll split better then. Not a good pack to go into from that black because of that red that's above the black there. It's sort of isolated. Now the problem here is Ronnie cannons into the pink at pace. The red below the pink could go close to that left corner, but Ronnie will have a better idea. Why, he's missed the blue. Took it for granted maybe, but that could be very costly.
Lots of interesting stuff in the morning stroke afternoon session to tell you about. But the big story concerned Ricky Walden. In the last match of the session here on table 1, he was 2-1 down to John Higgins, who'd made back-to-back centuries and was looking really good. Higgins broke off in the 4th frame, put Walden in immediate tactical trouble. Walden tried to hit the pack off a couple of cushions, came up short, but because he could see a red directly, he was quite correctly warned by the referee, who was Tatiana Wollaston, that he had to make contact a 3rd time or it would be frame awarded against him. So he changed tack, tried to roll into the bunch. The only problem was he played it quite slowly, and because the table was rolling off, he fell victim to it. the cue ball
24.
went at least an inch offline, and he caught the pink, and that was that. Frame lost. So Higgins won 3-1.
20.
We reckon, Dom, that's a record. The smallest amount of shots played to win an active frame. One shot, the break off.
Well, I think you've just said it there. To win an active frame, well, one shot, and it can't be better, can it? That has to be a record that can only be equalled.
Well, actually, it could be beaten, and that's being pedantic. If someone missed the pack on 3 consecutive occasions with their break off, but that's never going to happen. So, yeah, it will never be beaten. Doubtful it will ever be equalled. But we must emphasise it wasn't Walden's fault. The table did run off considerably.
34.
Before that, here on table 1, Kyron Wilson had highlighted his 3-0 win over Ronnie O'Sullivan with a break of 118. And John Higgins made a century in beating O'Sullivan 3-0 as well. Over on table 2, Ali Carter got off to a flyer, beating Ricky Walden 3-0. Then Ding had 3 half centuries in beating Martin Gould 3-1. And to complete the session over there, Kyron Wilson
41.
beat Martin Gould 3-0. So no match yet has gone to a decider.
42.
Well, the work really does begin now for Ricky Walden. The 2 remaining reds are both tricky, but he's played that quite nicely.
48.
The problem is he straight enough on the red to, well, dare he drop it in pocket weight? If he does, he'll leave a lovely angle on the black to develop the remaining red, because he's better leaving this cue ball on this left-hand side as we look. So he did try to roll it in pocket weight, and he's
Ricky
missed it.
Walden, 48.
Well, I think he had to play it that way. If he'd have taken the cue ball around the back of the black, the chances of him developing that remaining red would have been far slimmer. If Ronnie just drops this black in with a trace of left-hand side, he may be able to play a very quiet cannon into the red, but he's missed the black, would you believe it? What's going on here? I think he's got away with it, though. This bedcloth is so fast. Just a couple more rolls and Ronnie would have left that red on for Ricky, but as it is, it's a very effective safety. Now this could present a problem for Ricky because of the pace he needs to play this at. If that cue ball deviates, he could easily leave this red on.
After what occurred against Higgins, I think he's very mindful of that.
controlled the cue ball nicely, but does this red pass the black? It would appear that it may. Ronnie not taking it on though. 11 points behind, but that wasn't a good kiss from the red to the green. This frame is heading the way of Ricky Walden, it would seem, if he can just get onto a colour.
Well, Dom, in your mind, you gave him the red, but he called it too thick. A frame of mistakes thus far.
One.
Well, I'd have to ask Ricky afterwards, but I can only assume that cue ball just rolled off a fraction, which is all it would have needed. A player wouldn't miss a pot like that ordinarily.
Six. Eight.
O'Sullivan needs to clear to the pink.
Played that well. I think Ronnie was expecting a quicker bounce than that, but he can still pot this brown and get on the blue. Where's the cue ball going? Where's this cue ball going? It's going in. Well, would you believe it? Yet another twist of fate.
Ricky Walden 4.
That really was a shame. Played that shot really nicely. And now the ball in hand and the brown back on its spot. The frame really should be Walden's. Already 4 to the good.
Four. Nine. In the frame, Ricky Walden.
Who could have possibly foreseen this? Ronnie O'Sullivan has played 7 frames so far today. He's lost every single one of them. Right now, he's trailing Ricky Walden 1-0. It is 1-0 across the board here at the Morningside Arena in Leicester. We know about Ricky Walden taking the first, pinching the first against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Over on table 2, Ali Carter leads Ding 1-0. Well, that's the first time that Ricky Walden has ever won a frame against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the Championship League. In fairness, they've only played on 2 previous occasions, both in 2016. O'Sullivan won them both 3-0. And he had some bad fortune there as well, because he had a big bounce off the ball cushion, and that's why the cue ball has come to rest and left a very easy opener.
Yeah, so what's worse for Ronnie O'Sullivan is the fact that the black is clearly available into both of its corners, so this has to be construed as an excellent chance for Ricky Walden here at the beginning of frame 2.
6. 7.
Just wonder if that red that's directly above the black there will pot into the left corner. That will further aid Ricky's efforts here.
15.
A week today, both of these two will be involved in the Players' Championship at the Aldersley Arena in Wolverhampton.
23.
The top 16 on the one-year list qualify for that event. Ricky Walden plays Mark Allen. Ronnie O'Sullivan in the first round plays Judd Trump. What a blockbuster that is. Now this is tough. Made to look easy, Dom.
Yes, he played that, so it was no difficulty at all, which was amazing because really awkward cueing, and it was an important shot. As you can clearly see, the reds are everywhere. But he played that in his normal rhythm, didn't take any extra care on this at all.
31.
And having won that first frame, of course, it settles any pre-match nerves, if there are any. Now he has a choice here, Ricky. He has quite a substantial angle on the blue. He could decide to take the cue ball into the red and develop them further. They're already split away from one another fairly well, so they should open up again nicely here. So he has decided to play that. I think he's been unlucky. My goodness, how on earth has he landed there?
36.
I don't think he's on anything. Well, he's considering a very speculative plant into this left corner. The red that's closest to the cue ball, or the red, sorry, that's left of the cue ball, that's set towards this left corner. He's considering playing the plant to the red that's nearest the left corner. Well, you can see there's a good 18-20 inches between the two balls. He's coming around, he's considering it again here. This is risky. Oh, he's got it. What a
37.
pot. And he's on the black.
Risky Ricky. I think it's ill-advised, that shot, you have to say that, but now it's been pulled off. You can only applaud.
Yes, for anybody watching that type of plant,
44.
the way to knock those in, you line up the red to a part of the cushion rail that you need to hit so that you make contact the correct way with the second red. So you're lining up the plant and you're thinking to yourself, right, the first red that I'm aiming at here, what part of the cushion rail do I need to contact to make the plant effective? And that's exactly what Ricky did there, and he made it perfectly.
Well, this time he does have choices. Not exactly ideal, but he's okay, right in amongst them. This shouldn't be too much of an issue.
53.
Well, he played for the blue, I'm certain, but he certainly won't be playing the blue now. Shouldn't be a problem to pot the pink. As you say, Phil, the reds are beautifully positioned. Wouldn't be surprised if he's on a choice of probably 3 reds here.
$59. 60.
Well, he was convinced the cue ball was going to stop quicker than it did. In the end, it was a really favourable kiss.
Well, he just needs a red and a colour of any value to secure this 2-0 lead.
67.
Well, it shouldn't be a problem now, but he hasn't controlled the cue ball particularly well the last few shots.
$73. 74.
Well, that's the frame one. Just a matter of whether Walden can go on and make the 5th century of this group so far. And what would be the 95th century of the tournament in totality. I think we're going to see 100 centuries. Nailed on that. Nailed on. With
81.
another day of this group and the winners group to come.
Several shots ago, Ricky played a positional shot and tied the black up. So that's going to make making the century a little harder. He's a long way short of ideal position there.
86.
Unless he played for this red into the centre. Maybe he did. Maybe it didn't pot into the left corner. Well, it's just gone astray, but never mind. An excellent effort from Ricky Walden of 86. He's managed to extend his lead against Ronnie, who's decided to come back to the table for a bit of potting practice.
1.
Yes, as he did in his first match today against Kyron Wilson.
Funny that though, Ronnie came to the table with a big beaming smile.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those personalities who revels in being unconventional.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17. Frame conceded. Frame Ricky Walden.
Well, he concedes now, and so Ricky Walden has doubled his advantage. Ronnie O'Sullivan has played 8 frames so far today. He's yet to get off the mark. Drawing a blank here in the BetVictor Championship League. Ricky Walden has only beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan on one previous occasion in a professional snooker match. It was a pretty big occasion, mind you. The final of the 2008 Shanghai Masters. Won 10-8, made a century break to clinch. Now he's on the threshold of his second victory over the Rocket, leading 2-0. It's not going to be 2-0 on the other table, though. Ding is just about to equalise against Ali Carter at 1-1.
I think Ricky will have to consider taking this red on into the left corner. Can't see an easy path back to bulk. Oh, what a pot. That's fantastic. Okay, you could say it's easier when you're 2-0 up, but that was a very high tariff red that he's just knocked in. Now, can he just knock this black in? And if he can, what a chance for 3-0.
What he's doing this season, a couple of semi-finals and a quarter-final, just proving to everyone that confidence is so vital.
9.
He spent 3 or 4 years, for him, in the wilderness, doing little, battling a back injury. Now, though, he's pain-free,
16.
and he's starting to play free,
17.
self-belief snooker.
Well, if he eventually goes into the pack of reds and gets a good split, he may consider an attempt at a 1-4-7 here, the way the reds are positioned, but just depends how the pack open when he goes into them.
25.
Wow, will he leave an angle now on the black to go into them? The problem I can see
32.
potentially are the two reds just above and to the right of the black on the end of the pack as we look. There could be a potential plant to that right centre pocket, but Ricky will certainly spot that if it's a potential. Well, there is a red that's just below the pink that will pot to the centre pocket, and if Ricky wanted to, I'm sure he could get to the black from it. Well, Phil, you wouldn't get a better chance than this, would you, given the position of the reds to attempt a maximum?
Well, I agree with you, Dom,
41.
but now it's a mood point. We've done all the work, and then a fairly routine pot goes astray.
This bedcloth is lightning fast, but the cushions are also playing very quickly, which doesn't help the players to control and slow down the cue ball.
Will Walden live to regret that missed black? He knows the spurts of excellence of which O'Sullivan is capable. After all, these two are linked together in the record books. In the quarter-final of the Masters in 2014, O'Sullivan scored 556 points without reply against Walden,
15.
which remains the most by any player in any match, anywhere, anytime. 556.
That is most humbling, isn't it? My goodness. He's certainly looking good here, Ronnie, to, would you believe it, win his first frame of this group.
23. $31. 38. 39.
Several shots ago, Ronnie did just push a red slightly nearer that left-hand side cushion than he would have liked. That could be his only difficulty.
46. 52. 53.
'And just at the vital time, it's gone a little astray. You can still cut the red in. He'll probably play it left-handed, and he is doing. Oh, he's got it. Good pot to this black and the yellow to win his first frame of the group, having lost 3-0, 3-0 and 2-0 behind here.
$68. 70.
Well, a very nice frame ball that. It really was. Right into the heart of the pocket. Made that telltale sound off the leather.
73.
Now you wonder, is O'Sullivan off and running?
77.
Will Walden's missed black off its spot not only reshape this match, it could reshape the entire group.
82. 88. 95.
The great man sparks into life. He was given a lifeline by Ricky Walden. We were talking about a possible 147, but Walden missed on 41, and O'Sullivan did the rest. Walden's lead trimmed to just 2-1. Breaking news at Leicester. Ronnie O'Sullivan is off the mark for the day. His first frame is well and truly tucked away. So let's take a look at table 2 momentarily. Ali Carter and Ding Junhui 1-1. Carter won the first frame, aided by a break of 54. Ding responded with a break of 90 in the second frame. The third looks a little messy, doesn't it?
Yes, early days there in frame 3, but the black is well and truly tied up, and the red surrounding the black spot are not helping either.
O'Sullivan is back in the arena, looking to equalise and force what would be our first decider today on either table.
Good cue ball there from Ronnie. Not an easy safety by any means this for Ricky. If he plays a thin edge off the reds to the left of the pack there, he needs to catch it very thinly. Oh, played it well. Very well. Oh, that's a superb shot. Ronnie's in some difficulty here now. Can't see a path back to bulk.
Touching ball.
Hasn't played a good cue ball there. Just wonder if Ronnie may be tempted to have a take on the red to the right corner, but he isn't doing. But was able to play a good safety instead. What a pot that was from Ricky Walden. But I don't think he expected to collide with another red. Bit unlucky actually. Would have had a good chance of being on possibly the green without the cannon. Black is a very challenging pot from tight underneath that side cushion. This is not easy. Oh, well done. That was so much more difficult than the one he missed in the previous frame.
8. 9. Ricky Walden 9.
Well, Ricky knows he can't afford mistakes like that. But has the double kiss on the black left things safe? Maybe this red is on, but it's certainly not easy. Well done.
1.
I'm sure Ronnie would have liked an angle on the blue to go into the bunch of reds, but he's still got choices of colour here.
Seven. 8.
Well, Ronnie going to the reds this time. Probably wanted just a touch more angle on the blue to do so.
13. 14.
Well, this is a better angle from Ronnie's point of view. Just needs to be careful something doesn't find a pocket somewhere. Wasn't far away. This table's so fast.
19.
And one of the byproducts of that is that when you go into the bunch to split them up, they disperse so easily. Now, what a good opportunity this is to draw level.
Yeah, Ronnie will need to try and get that pink out of the way if he can, because if he pots the black, Ronnie, it'll be tied up with the pink. So the black's no good to Ronnie at the moment. Well, I'm just beginning to think that the pink doesn't pass the red to the left corner. That would be a bigger issue for Ronnie.
26.
And he's short of pace on the blue. Shouldn't be a problem with that red that's near the right corner. But as I say, if Ronnie does pot that black, it's going to be tied up right next to that pink.
One. 32.
Now we know this table's reactive, and that is the ultimate evidence. O'Sullivan can't quite believe it. He's screwed right back into bulk.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 32.
Through all of his mistakes, mishaps, bad luck today, he's not shown any emotion, but he did there. The butt of the cue went into the carpet.
1.
And isn't that just typical from Ronnie's point of view? He left Ricky the perfect angle on that red to run through and develop the pink. He's a little close to his work, Ricky, but he is on this pink. And now with the pink on its spot, Ricky can most certainly play on the black anytime he chooses to.
If Walden does win 3-1, of course O'Sullivan could still qualify for the playoffs, but he would have to win his last 3 matches and then hope results, indeed scorelines, go his way.
16.
Ricky's drawn level with Ronnie with that black.
24.
Needs the 3 remaining reds, now 2, and that red that's near that left hand side cushion could be problematical. I wonder if Ricky tried to leave an angle on that red there just to bring the awkward one into play, but I think he's a bit straight on it now.
31.
I don't think he's left a good angle on the pink. It's very straight. So work to do now. He may consider the green here instead.
Seven.
Mathematically, that wasn't frame and match ball, but effectively,
37.
it most probably was.
Well, an unfortunate ricochet from the top jaw of the middle pocket for Ronnie there. He's left the red on now for Ricky. Suppose there's a slight chance a cue ball could go in off in the right centre if he wasn't careful. Well, at least the red has wriggled to safety.
Both players know whoever pots the last red will be an overwhelming favourite to win the frame. And for Walden, that looks like being a cracking result. But has the red just poked its nose out from behind the pink?
Well, that may not quite be a snooker, but it may be as good as one if Ricky can only see the faintest edge of this red. Oh, he could see enough to pot it. And now that he has, if he doesn't get on a colour, he'll be disappointed. Well, that's certainly not the best kiss in the world from Ricky's point of view. He could cut the brown in, but the cue ball's going away from the yellow. This was a really good pot on the red. Ronnie was a little unfortunate to have left that.
Yeah, you're right. O'Sullivan's not had the best of run in this match overall. What about the first frame when he knocked in the brown? Cruelly running off.
Well, he's considering the brown. His cue ball will be doing some mileage. Oh, the brown's in, but the bump of the middle pocket has caused problems for Ricky, or has it? Is there a gap through to the yellow? There is. Amazing.
He's 19 in front, Walden, so he needs the yellow and the green. Oh, but that's calamitous. In an ideal world, O'Sullivan would prefer the green to be on its spot, but if that problem is solved, if it is a problem, the colours clearance should be plain sailing.
Ricky's problem there was that he missed the yellow by so far. That cue ball travelled nowhere near where it should have done, and it found the pocket. And that's not bad from Ronnie's point of view. He'll be very pleased with that. Good angle to stun up for the brown.
Ronnie O'Sullivan too.
Well, having missed the green, really, really fortunate where he came to rest. O'Sullivan's terrific left-handed, there's no doubt about it, but it's a real myth. You hear people say, oh, he's as good left-handed as right. He isn't. Still, though, I expected him to pot that.
And again, this is going to be one of those horrible shots that Ronnie's faced with, where he'll be playing it at a fairly reduced pace. He'll have to put his trust in the table here, I feel. Well, is he going to get away with this? Just about.
Let me quickly tell you that Ding has taken a 2-1 lead over Carter.
Well, Ronnie could take this on, but I don't think he has a good angle on this green. So just the safety. And it could have been better. That's an excellent shot from Ronnie. And there's lots of room around the back of this green for Ricky to go around it with the cue ball. And that's the least of his worries. He's somehow got to try and get this safe.
Oh, you miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 5.
If a miss hadn't been called there, it would never ever be called again. That was a terrible attempt by Walden. An embarrassingly bad one.
Yeah, he played the cue ball straight into the jaw of the middle pocket there. So that will be a guide for our referee Tatiana Wollaston. Ricky can clearly see the top jaw of that middle pocket then. But like I say, there's lots of room around the back of this green. Oh, he's just caught the faintest edge. Well, he's guaranteed a good cue ball here. On the whole, be delighted with that outcome.
Not so O'Sullivan with that one. Walden now 11 in front. So the brown and the blue will do.
He's just cannoned that pink in front of the blue a little, so he's going to have to play this cue ball below the line of the middle pocket. Oh, he's missed the brown, I can't believe it.
Ricky Walden 3.
Well, he'd have snookered himself on the blue anyway, but probably wouldn't have done if he'd have potted the brown.
O'Sullivan needs the three remaining colours.
Nine. 15. 22 in the frame.
O'Sullivan engaging in brinkmanship. He badly needs a victory in this match. It looked at one point as though he was going to lose 3-0, maybe 3-1. As it is, though, we've gone to a decider. The first time today, O'Sullivan 2, Walden 2. So much riding on the next frame. When you play best of 5 frame matches in a professional snooker event, you expect a lot of them to go down to the wire. That's not been the case so far here today, until now. Ronnie O'Sullivan 2, Karen Wilson, or should I say Ricky Walden 2. O'Sullivan breaking off in the decider. I was jumping the gun there. Karen Wilson's on next against Walden. We're just about to see the first definitive result of this session. Ding Junhui is going to beat Ali Carter 3-1. He could complete victory with a century.
73.
And worth bearing in mind that Ding
70.
won his opening match 3-1 against Martin Gould. So Ding over the line. Next up on table 2, John Higgins against Ali Carter. What a glorious pot that was. And look at the control of the cue ball.
Ronnie will be pleased to see that red collide with another, otherwise it would have been close to this right hand corner. This is a huge match for both of these players, yet to win a group match here in Group 7. Ronnie, considering this red, he knows he should be able to get the cue ball into a safe position. Well, is he going to have left it on? Not this time. But is there another? The red just above the black. Does that pot into the right corner?
Now, the fact he stayed down on that shot for its entire journey told you he wasn't quite sure whether the red was going to go or not. These pros have an instinct. They know pretty much straight away. So it must have been mighty close. And of course it was. caught just fractionally too much of the jaw.
Ricky fortunate there that the cue ball didn't cannon the yellow 4 ball, otherwise this red to the right corner would have been on. Surely Ronnie won't consider the red next to the pink, will he? Doesn't have a good angle on it. Oh, that's fantastic. Screwed that cue ball back across the table effortlessly. That's probably the best shot of the match, I think.
Well, for me, I think that's the best shot of the day. Certainly I've seen. Underlining two things. The responsiveness of this playing surface, and 2, the timing of the great Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, bearing in mind that the pink's out of commission, and so is the black, I wouldn't be at all surprised here to see Ronnie go into the reds from the blue, but he has overrun it slightly. Well, that's an absolutely fabulous outcome from Ronnie's point of view. He's developed the black, he's got a choice of reds, choice of 4 or 5 even. What a chance this is for the former 6 times world champion to win his first group match here in Group 7. A must-win match from his point of view.
13.
Yes, it would raise spirits considerably. He has one more match left today over on table 2 to finish things up against Martin Gould a little later. Put the boot on the other foot. If Walden were to lose, he'd be entitled to be dispirited going into his last match of the day, which is coming up next here on table 1 against the so far undefeated Kyron Wilson. So it was 2-0 to Walden. He was on a break of 41 in the third frame. Dominic Dale was getting excited. He was talking about a 147, and I could see where he was coming from. But then Walden missed a black off its spot.
29.
And suddenly, O'Sullivan had oxygen.
Six. 37.
It's all about controlling the cue ball now from Ronnie O'Sullivan's point of view. Black would give him a lead of 50 points, just a couple more reds and colours would see him through a 3-2 victor. But he's landed rather straight on this black, I feel. So it's certainly not plain sailing just yet.
$44. 45.
We saw with the initial shot of this break O'Sullivan's great power and timing, but he's also got exquisite touch.
51.
And bags of bottled on.
Yes, well, that comes with experience, having lifted so many ranking titles and other tournaments besides. Bottle is something you can learn to a degree. You just become familiar with the pressure. and what that brings.
$66. 67. 74. 75.
We both said, didn't we, when Walden missed that black, could it be a transformational moment, not just in the contest, but in the group? Maybe it will.
82.
The silkiness of O'Sullivan now on display.
Indeed so, Phil. Possible break of 139 here for Ronnie O'Sullivan. If he can take blacks with the remaining reds.
91. 98. 99. 106.
Yet another century to his unprecedented tally.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 106. Frame and a match.
The break ends there, and indeed so does the match. Ricky Walden might be thinking to himself, I could have won that 3-0. He would be correct, but in actuality, it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who comes through by 3 frames to 2, and his hopes of making the semi-final playoffs in this group tomorrow have been reignited as a consequence.